Welcome to Hornets Sports Buzz, episode number 15. Tonight we're going to be talking about boys indoor track. I'm joined by captains Michael Hargadon on my far left and Aiden Sacco. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I just realized, and Aiden's been on before, I usually give an update of the standings, but I didn't do my homework. So we're going to get right into boys track. And Aiden is one of the few returning guests we've had. You remember him? He's I joke, QB1, quarterback of the football team. But
Yep.
You were actually a running back turned quarterback.
Yeah.
Turned running back the last game, or
Yeah, last game, little quarterback, little running back,
Yeah.
little of everything, yeah.
That's good. So you got to be quick. But Mike, we're not here to talk about. Mike plays baseball.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be back there in the spring.
You
I'd
guys
love
had
to
a
be
pretty
back.
good year.
Yeah, Super 8 last year. Hopefully we'll be back. A lot of underclassmen last year, so we're going to have a lot of experience, so I'm excited for that. But got to finish out this season first.
That's good. Yeah. So it's winter. I think today, July. It's not July. It's January 29th. So yeah, we're in the heart of it, and the next few days are going to be really cold. So these boys, in case you don't know, they run their meets indoors. But guys, actually, most of your practices are outdoors. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Today was outdoor, yeah.
And when do you guys ever run in the halls, or do you ever run?
We've had our fair share of hallway practices. I mean, it's a little difficult trying to weave in and out of the kids trying to leave school, and we're making the most of what we got, but we're trying to just get better every day and try to work through it, even though the conditions might not be what we want them to be.
Yeah. And you've played for Coach Redding. I understand he runs the hallway sometimes. He runs, I think he told me it's like 33 laps to the mile, in the hallway. So
Oh, yeah.
you don't have to do that much, I hope, guys.
No.
So backing up a little, the indoor track team right now, and again, we always fact check on the show. You guys are 5-0, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kelly Rex champs.
And I've been to the Reggie Lewis, but not to watch these gentlemen. And looking at the scores, so interesting. This could be a trivia. I think every duel means 100 points, right, Mike?
100 points.
Nice and simple. So how many points do you need to win?
51.
Very good, very good. This guy's the math guy. No, I'm just kidding. So, I think they just beat Attleboro by, I think it was 63-37.
Sounds correct.
And we're going to have Coach Kevin Butera and another captain, Greg Waters, on. I'm like, Coach, you guys kind of blew them away. And he said, not really. And Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about how that meet went down?
So after the 600, I finished first, and then they came in second and third. So we were only up by 1 point. It was 23-22. And then right before the 2 mile, we had Mike Malahy, Colin Lancaster, and Trevor Flint running. And then we were losing at that point. And then I talked to him. I was like, guys, if you guys can get us a lead going into these relays, we'll take care of the rest. And sure enough, Mike Malahy won. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
So again, even though we have tons of viewers at home, as you know, right? You guys have seen the shows.
Watched it all the time.
Not everybody knows how the scoring and track meets goes. Can you tell us for each event, Aiden, how does the scoring go for first, second, third?
So basically, first place is 5 points, second is 3 points, and third place is 1 point. And then the relays, since it's only 2 teams competing, first place is 5, and second is 1 point.
Okay, that's good. So relays are huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to win them, and that's why Michael was saying, even if they may be behind, I think Mansfield historically has some great relays, and so there's 8. Tell me if I'm wrong. 8 individual events times 9. That's 10 individual events times 9 is 90.
Yep.
Plus the 2 relays adds up to 100. So, Mike, I know what you run, but tell the audience at home what event you run, and
usually I run the 600 meter and the 4x4 relay.
Okay, so those of you at Reggie Lewis Center, and I know all these answers, but how big of a track is it, Aiden?
It's 200 meters around.
So 600 meters, Mike?
I got to take 3 laps.
All right. So, and I know Mike, but this is his second year of indoor track.
Correct.
And, baseball player. But the 600, my oldest son ran that. It's a tough event.
Yeah, it's the combination between getting out hard and settling into the race later, but you have to find the balance between like a sprint and like a fast stride. You got to pace yourself through it enough where you have enough energy to finish the race.
Have you figured out a little bit better this year? I mean, Mike did phenomenal last year, but do you run it a little bit different? I know last year you just went all out for as long as you could, and then
yeah, I credit most of that to Mike Shannon, who was kind of teaching me through the ropes last year. But yeah, he taught me everything I know about running the 600. So
yeah, and Mike's running your master.
He is, yes.
That's good. And Aiden, what do you run this year?
I'm running the 55 meter, the 4x200 relay, and I'm long jumping.
That's great. And what's a good time for the 55?
55 is sub 7 seconds is
Yeah.
pretty good.
You broke 7?
I have broken 7, yeah.
That's good. That's good. And the long jump, how far have you
I
jumped?
think this season I've jumped 19 feet 1 inch so far. So
That's great. I was going to say, in the relay, who's on the relay, the 4x200 with you?
so it's me, Greg Waters, the other captain, Joe Capoletti, and Jack Rivard.
Check right. And you've run like 132?
I think our PR is 133, like 97 or something like that.
Yeah. And I know in the Hawks, we're going to talk about the Hawk League with you guys and the coach, but I think it's definitely the top time in the Hawk. But how is that statewide? I mean, I know it's pretty quick time.
I know for Division II, that's best for 4th. So hopefully at divisionals and stuff will be good enough to move on to all states.
What leg have you been running?
I'm the first leg.
Okay. And so those of you at home, again, I think it's up to 10,000 viewers that we have. The relays, a lot of people think track is an individual sport, track and field, and it is, but when my kid used to run, I actually ran in high school, believe it or not, but the relays are fun, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
It really kind of puts the team thing together, especially tough dual meets and then the Hawk meets and the state meets. So do you agree with that, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody seems to be like engaged, like all the audience, like because nothing else is going on. None of the field events, no long jump at the time, no shot put. So all the focus is on you.
That's great. Have you ever dropped the baton?
No, not yet.
I'm the one that usually knocks it over. That's good. So and I should know this, but I think a lot of teams think you can drop the baton and not be disqualified. Am I right about that?
I mean, if they don't catch you,
Yeah. You
you
don't
want
want to do
with
it.
it.
The 4x2, if you drop the baton, you guys
You're
are not going to win.
done, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And I know, tell me if I'm wrong, but how much do you practice for dual meet? The 4x400, it's less important, the exchange, correct?
Yeah, it's not as stressful. I should. The 4x2, it's got to be like bang bang. It's got to be perfect if you want to have a great time. But 4x4, you kind of get that little bit of like leeway that you can kind of get away with some things that you wouldn't be able to get away with in the 4x2.
That's great. So how long have you been running? I know Michael, this is his second year, and then he's busy in the spring. What about you? Do you run outdoors track?
No, I do a lacrosse in the spring.
Okay, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you're multi-dimensional. But how many years have you been doing the track?
I started freshman year.
That's good.
Yeah.
And not obviously, but you played youth sports. You're always quick, right? You're not, yeah.
Yeah, relatively.
Sprinters are a little bit distance runners. They, I was going to ask Coach Collins. I'm going to ask Coach Patera. Like, sprinters I think are born. Mike's like a tweener there, but distance runners, I think there's been some relatively non-athletic kids that have turned into phenomenal distance runners. So.
Yeah,
But
they practice a lot.
How do you get quicker? Like, how much you work on your starts?
You gotta work on the timing first. Like hearing the gun go off. Like we do a lot of practice with quick reaction, getting out, and then kind of your form, getting out of the blocks and getting into your good sprinting form to get as fast as you can for like 55 meters. It's pretty short. So.
Yeah. Do you practice your lean, or is that?
We don't really practice that, but a lot of us do it anyway. Just kind of give it a little lean over the.
It's fun. And are the electronic timing? Is it when your chest passes?
Torso,
yeah.
Torso. That's good. So we could talk more about the championship season, but I want to talk about what do you guys are seniors, captains. Who are the other captains besides Greg? Because we're not going to talk about the rest of the show.
Patrick Evie and Paxton Howard.
Okay, I think we had him on for the cross country
Cross-country,
distance runners, but. What do you, Michael? I know. What are you doing next year as far as academics, athletics? What do you?
My options right now are baseball at WPI in Wentworth, or possibly running track in Merrimack. But if I wasn't to play sports, I might go to UMass Amherst.
Good. So you got it all covered. So if you go to those other places for either baseball or track, you're not going to study. You're just going to.
Yeah. I mean. Academics would come first, but
your parents are watching the show. So.
Yeah, but I got into the engineering program, both WPI and UMass, so probably gonna go into civil engineering.
Oh, that's great! Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's tough time of year because I know you're busy in the fall. You guys, you did the modified cross country,
I did,
right?
yes.
And senior, applying for colleges, SATs. Doing sports, trying to have a little fun.
Right.
So, my advice: take your time because you have until May 1st to make a decision.
Exactly.
Right? What do you think you're going to do, Aiden? Or do you know?
I'm between 6 schools at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got to make a decision by May 1st, obviously, but I want to do physical therapy in college and
That's great.
hopefully walk on to a lacrosse team somewhere. Haven't really been recruited to the schools that I applied to because they're all like Division One, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So, I'll put you on the spot. Is lacrosse your favorite, or?
It is my favorite,
It
yeah.
is, yeah. Because it's, you got the speed, you got agility, and there's a little bit of roughness out there, right?
Yeah, it's a
like the
combination of
football.
everything.
Yeah, that's good. Kids like it. All right, so I'm going to leave some of the divisional questions to these, but what are you guys looking forward to the Hawk Meet? The Hawk Meet's this next Saturday, right?
Next Saturday,
February
correct.
9th. I didn't talk about, you guys are in first place in the Kelly Rex. You guys clinched it 5-0. But the other division, again, tell me if I'm wrong, OA, Sharon, and Milford are all 3-0-2. I don't know if you've looked at their records.
Oh, I have not looked.
They had
No.
3 ties, 50-50, which is like mathematically amazing that there were 3 ties. But so I think on paper they might be pretty good teams, even though Mansfield's won the Hawk for 15 years in a row, 17 years in a row.
Something like that.
Yeah. So what are your goals, either individually or team-wise, for just the Hawk? We won't talk about the state meet.
Definitely to win the relay, coming first there, because that'll give us a good edge going into the divisional meet, and definitely to win. I know we've talked with Coach, there's like 3 or 4 teams that could all be pretty high up in the scoring, so hopefully we'll come out with that win.
And speaking of relay, you guys have an alternate, because God forbid somebody gets hurt or something happens, right? You guys have a good backup. Let's give a shout. Who's your backup in the 4x2?
We got 2 of them. We got Chris Veros and Mickey Warnica are there too.
Yeah, and Mickey's a sophomore?
He is a sophomore, yeah.
That's good. And Mike, before we talk about your predictions for the Hawk Meet, who's your backup in the 4x4?
Backup.
Or,
in the
do we mention who
4x4?
runs the 4x4?
The 4x4 right now is me, Tyler King, Danny Knight, and Jason Whipple. And the alternate, I believe, is Rafi Marzella.
Yep, a soccer player.
Yeah.
Those soccer players are fast. I gotta say.
Yeah.
But so Jason Winvogel, is it Winvogel or Vinvogel?
Winvogel.
Okay. Those of you that don't know, he was phenomenal in cross country. He's up there with Paxton Howard and Patrick Heavey. I think he might have been the top runner. He transferred from Oliver Ames.
Correct.
But before that, is he from South Africa?
He's from South Africa,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you guys really, I don't know how you guys got him into Mansfield this year. that's pretty sneaky. But what do you think about the Hawk Meet, Mike, individually or team wise?
For the 600, Jason and I will both be running in that. So our hope is that we can come 1-2 in that. I think it's 10 points for first place, 8 points for second place, something like that. But so if we can get first, second in that, get a lot of points in there, and I believe both of the relays will have no problem.
That's good. Sounds like a W. That's good.
Hopefully.
All right, I'm gonna. I know Mike's got a busy man. He's got physical therapy. He's got to stay healthy, and Aiden's got to do his homework. So we're gonna let you guys go. Save some of the tough questions for Coach. But
Sure.
Yeah.
thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And we might have you back for
I
baseball
hope to be
season.
back.
And look, you might be our first 3-time guest. So
Sweet.
you can call in sick if you don't want to come. But thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Good luck with
Thank
the
you.
Hawk Meet and the divisionals in the state.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we'll be right back with Kevin Butera and Greg Waters. Thank you. Welcome back to Hornets Sports Buzz. We're still talking about boys indoor track. On my left, we have Coach Kevin Butera, and on my far left, we have Captain Greg Waters. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for
That's
having
great.
us.
So sometimes, we just had Mike Hargan on and Aiden Sacco on. So, Coach, again, any fact I have, just correct me, but it's your first year as head coach of
Yep.
the indoor program.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll get into it. You're going to plan on coaching the outdoor team?
Yep.
That's good. That's good. So tell us a little bit about your background, ending with how you ended up at Mansfield High coaching, whether you ran in high school or what you
Yep.
did in high school and college. And
So I competed for 4 years at Walpole High School. Went on to Babson College, ran there for 4 years too. Graduated, started as an assistant coach at Babson during the cross country season. My high school coach at Walpole said they had an opening there, so I switched immediately back into high school. Did, I think, maybe a year as an assistant for track at Walpole. And then the next year I was head coach for indoor and outdoor there for 6 years. Then the opportunity came to work with Julie and jumped at it. So it was a good move for me and have loved being at Mansfield ever since.
that's great. And everybody knows who Julie is, Coach Collins, who I think it was like 17 years. She coached
Yeah.
from 2001, maybe a year or two as an
Yeah.
assistant, and then head
Yep.
coach. So big shoes to fill. As anybody that's been on the show, Mansfield High has great coaches. So, but Walpole High, they have and they had a
Yep.
pretty successful program, right?
Yep.
Not as good as Mansfield, but no.
No.
And
There is a big difference.
Yeah.
And the legacy that the program in Mansfield has is second to none, really.
so did and again, you don't have to share anything, but did the opportunity present yourself, or Coach Collins reach out, or was it just a mutual?
It was actually a coach of another Hockomock team that told me that there was an opening, and I reached out and just worked really well.
That's great. That's great. So Greg's one of the senior captains. I think we've discovered, is there 4 captains or 5, Greg?
5.
Okay. You, Michael,
Aiden, Paxton, and Hebe.
Pat Heavey. Yeah, people just call him Heavey,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a sprinter as well.
Yep.
But and again, I think you ran modified cross country. Or I
Yeah.
shouldn't say that. You ran cross country, but some of the sprinters call it
Yeah.
modified.
Yeah.
Can you explain that in the fall?
So we did cross country, but instead of always doing like long distance workouts, we do sprinter workouts as well. I mean, we did like a couple long distance workouts too, but we usually did sprinting workouts. But we also did like the mile and mile and a half, like for like the dual meets.
Yeah.
For cross country. So.
That's great, because I think one of your predecessors, Coach Pete Shooter,
Yep.
who was a track legend, another track legend. You've been running since freshman year?
Sophomore year.
Was Coach Shooter still around then?
No.
Okay. But I think he might have started it, because, a lot of good athletes like yourself. And you played football freshman and stuff?
Yeah, I played freshman year.
Yeah. And so it's a good thing. You're one of the top runners in Mansfield, and obviously the Hawk and also the state. So I think, did you feel it helps you? And I think Hargadon ran. And
Yeah.
How many sprinter types ran the cross country? Do you know?
Probably, I want to say 5 of you guys that
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. I remember talking to Coach Collins, and
Yeah.
she thinks you probably could have been in the top 7 if you committed to cross
So
country. Which
both Greg and Mike are phenomenal athletes, where they have incredible endurance and speed, where you do not find that in a lot of athletes. And Greg would run, I think we had a meet down in Barnstable. It was a twilight meet, the 5K, and then the next day he runs a 10K. So
That's
kind of
unbelievable.
insane.
Yeah. Your father can't beat you yet. Huh?
Not yet. He's catching up.
I know. No, that's good. And we did mention with Michael that Jason Winvogel's also very unusual, in that
Yep.
he's got 400 speed and also
Yeah.
5K speed.
Yep.
So that was a good way to steal him from
That was a good-
for all of our
Good pickup.
So I went over with the other captains. 5-0. Congratulations. That's really good. And a couple of the meets really close. Attleboro, but like the Franklin meet, was that close too?
So-
They're a great competitor.
I actually thought the Franklin meet would have been a little closer, just based off how the cross country season had gone. But I think having them first may have helped us a little bit, because we were ready sprint and field event wise. And I think the events and distance just worked out really well for us.
That's
But
great.
it was a great win to start the season.
Yeah. And we haven't talked, obviously you're the strategy guy. Like, I think we'll talk about the Hawk and the divisionals and the All-States, but how many events, and I know, Greg, you know this, how many events can you do in a particular dual meet?
You can do 2 running and 2 field.
Believe it, you can do any 3 actually.
Any 3,
Oh.
Yeah.
including relay.
Yep.
So, and again, I haven't been to the meets, but have you been doubling up into the athlete? I know some of the sprinters double, right?
Yeah.
It'll mostly be sprinters that'll either double or triple during a meet. More often than not, you'll see kids triple doing like 2 running events and a field event, or 2 field events and a running event. Very rare will you see someone do 3 running events, but
Yeah.
it's happened.
That's tough, and I think that's and I Coach Collins, I know she did that, and I would think you can maybe win some dual meets, but you can also burn out kids if
Yeah.
you're running the 2 mile, the mile, and,
Yep.
and whatever. And I think unless Mansfield has to do it, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys really protect the athletes.
Yep.
So Greg, you run the 55 meter,
And the 4x2, yeah.
4x2, and Aiden talked about that. So what's your PR for the 55?
55 this season is a 6.74.
674. That's good. So in most events, actually everything electronic at the Reggie Lewis,
Yep.
but hundredths of a second really matter. The difference between a 6.74 and a 6.94. No offense to Aiden.
Yeah.
No, it's big, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
You know, you get to
Yeah.
the Hawk meet divisionals, the difference between first and 10th might be 5/100ths of a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what do you focus? How much do you focus on your starts, or?
I mean, honestly, I try and focus a lot on my start because for the 55, the start is like, it's like almost everything. The start is huge for the 55.
Do you practice at home? You like your dad like racing to the fridge saying, "Go"? No.
I mean, every once in a while, I'm not gonna lie, like I'll be in my bedroom and I'll get down and do a quick start, and then I'll just like go back to homework.
No, that's good. And then the rule, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, one false start and you're out, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The old days, way back, is you had one false start but then the meets
Yeah.
would take forever. But so you know, a lot of the athletes on the show, like, talk about a little about the mental aspect, like, you know, like you've probably been fast your whole life. Right?
Yeah.
But how much do you like mentally? I know last year at the outdoors you advanced to the All States.
Yeah.
So how much, like, when you get to the 55 and 100, how much like mental preparation is? Because you know everybody on the starting line is fast.
Yeah. I mean, I just like, I don't know, like before my race, I'm just listening to music, just trying to like get angry at myself.
Really?
Yeah, it just helps. It just works for me. I just get really mad and then I just go.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody stay away from you?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's good because you seem like a pretty chill kid. That's good. So, Coach, let's talk about the Hawk meet. And I
Yep.
guess, you know, and I think you probably know that in the Davenport, there's 3 teams that are
Yeah.
3-0-2,
Yep.
OA, Milford, and Sharon.
North Attleboro,
Okay.
Milford, and Sharon. All very good teams.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You know, the Kellerex, the Davenport's a little smaller and
Yep.
sometimes weaker, but track and field it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I know Coach Collins, do you go in and try to score it or
Yep.
predict? You kind of have to because, and the scoring. Why don't you tell us how it's not just 1 through 3?
Yeah,
How
so
does the scoring work?
at the Hawk Championship meet, the top 8 placers in every event score. So it goes 10-8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you're in one of the sprinting events that has finals, getting into finals is huge because especially in a year like this year where there's probably 3 or 4 teams that have a shot at it, 1 point could make the difference.
So, and again, I think an athlete can enter up to 3 events, including the relays.
Yep.
And again, we don't want to give away any secrets because I was always curious about this. When do you have to submit who's going to run? Because, you know, like just say
Yeah.
Paxton and Patrick, those kids and Jason could probably run
Yep.
the 1,000, the mile, the 2 mile. And again, we don't want to give away any secrets.
Yeah.
But when do you have to submit who's
So
running what?
the entries aren't due until next Wednesday,
Okay.
but things are pretty much locked in right now,
Mm-hmm.
barring any unforeseen changes. But
That's
I
good.
think letting them know ahead of time what they need to do is good for them.
Yeah, because you know sometimes just say you have an outstanding distance runner, you could put him in the 1,000 and maybe the 2 mile, but
Yeah.
he's cooked for the relay.
Yeah.
And the 4x8 is in the Hawk meet and
Yep.
the other championship race.
Yep.
That's good. So Greg, do you really enjoy the relay? Because we talked about the team aspect. Do you?
Yeah, the
Do
relays.
you get mad at
the
do you
relays?
pull a relay too?
I do. Yeah. You can ask my teammates. I turn like to a completely different person, but
Yeah.
I'd say the relays easily like my favorite event of all track.
Yeah. And
It's so fun.
you've got like a 22.9 split. That's
Yeah.
according to the website.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. And what leg have you been running, or do you mix it up?
Second leg for the dual meets. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I know Coach Shooter, the 4x4, he liked the second leg because sometimes the first guy's just got to get out
Yeah.
there and just keep it close, and the second guy can really.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fun stuff. Before I forget, what are your plans next year? I know it's the heart of the winter. Do you know?
I'm gonna try and join the Navy, so I have an interview on Thursday.
Oh, that's
So
great.
hopefully I get in. I'm praying.
That's good. And you have to tell me you have to be 18 to. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. That'd be great. And I think there were 1 or 2 Mansfield kids that joined the Navy last year. Do you
I'm
know?
not too sure.
Yeah, I think Brendan Haley from a
Yeah,
couple years
yep.
ago. Yeah. Good luck. That's good.
Thank you.
So you'll be in shape whether you're running for the naval track team. That's great. So Coach, let's talk about this state meet. The divisionals. Are you guys Division 2?
Division 2.
And last year, I forget how Mansfield did. I don't.
We ended up winning.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot that. That's good. And the scoring is the same.
Yep.
10 through 1.
Top 8 placers.
And Greg, you I know you know this, but in each event, you have to qualify. If it's a field event, you have to throw the shot put a certain distance. What's the qualifying in the 55?
I don't remember. It kind of like changes.
But
a
you've
little bit.
qualified, right?
Yeah.
That's good. And then yeah, and I think it's tough. I think it might be the first top 24 or 32 competitors.
So they're taking the top 32 runners in each division and 24 in field events and relays.
24 field events and relays. And then and tell me, once you get to divisionals, which is tough competition.
Yeah.
You can advance only in individual events to go to the All-States? Or how do you go from the divisionals to All-States?
They change this so often. So I'm going to say it's top 3 are automatic from each division, and then they take the next 9 fastest or next 9 furthest throws or jumps in field events. 'Cause they've picked an arbitrary number, I think of like 30 or something, that they want at the All-State meet.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about field events much, but give a shout out to who's the best high jumper, the best shot putter, the best long jumper.
So for shot put, Colby Eason.
Okay.
For
What
high,
year is he now?
Senior.
Senior.
Okay, good.
And then Andrew Williams for high jump, and then Sacco for long jump.
Sacco, that kid, you can't get away from that kid.
Honestly, absolute
Is
athlete.
he still wearing the bandana this year?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't know that was allowed. That's good. Yeah, that's great. And then the relays are strong. The 4x8, you guys really haven't put a time on the board yet.
We haven't run a 4x8 this year,
But Mansfield's always-
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And you got plenty of depth
Yeah.
there to
Yeah.
fill in. Heavy, you got plenty of, and again, let's focus on this year, but next year, you got a lot of strong seniors, but
Yep.
you guys have a lot of kids in the pipeline?
Yep. I mean, obviously losing all the seniors, especially the captains, is going to be tough to replace, but I think the younger guys have started to show some promise, so we'll be okay.
That's good. And then one thing, I know you've been running varsity for your whole career, but the JV meets, Coach, talk about that, like people at home, like, kid comes out of 8th grade and he's either a super athlete or not, but not everybody gets to run at the Reggie Lewis
Yeah.
Center. Tell us about the JV meets.
The JV meets are at Wheaton College, which I don't think a lot of the kids know how fortunate they are to have it, because a lot of leagues don't have a track like that to run JV events on.
Yeah.
So I think we had 5 JV meets there this year. Unfortunately, the last one, which is kind of considered as like the JV championship meet, it got canceled.
The Paul Davey
Yeah.
Invitational, yeah.
So they still had 5 opportunities to run there, have some fun, run an individual event, run a relay, get jumps in, get some good marks. And I always tell those kids that you start the year on JV, you can move your way up, and a couple of those kids did. So
That's great. I know, because way back, I don't know if you ever heard the track at Franklin.
the
old
Franklin Fieldhouse.
I think it was 11 laps to the mile,
Yeah.
and it was, by the last few years, it was really torn
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And have you run the 300 before?
I ran the 300 once this season. Didn't go as well as I thought it was. I was
Yeah.
not prepared for that.
Yeah, because the 300 at Franklin, it was basically the first
Yep.
kid that got the turn usually won, because the other 2 kids might wipe out. It was crazy.
Roller derby there.
You might have enjoyed that. That's good. So the JV meets, we talked about that. And then, Coach, like we talked about Coach Collins, but talk about some of your other assistant coaches, because you need a big staff, indoors and outdoors.
So we are extremely fortunate in Mansfield to have not only the coaches we have on staff, but the size of the coaching staff. So especially throws, we have 2 throws coaches, and I know schools struggle to find throws coaches. So Chris Fong and Hillary Crook, both alumni of the school, awesome throws coaches. Every year we have phenomenal throwers, do very well, not only in Hawks, but also at the state level. Cy Johnson for jumps, both long and high jump, always pumping out jumpers for us, scoring points. And then Dave Barbado took over the distance program, coming over from Coyle Cassidy. Doing a great job so far. So
That's great.
yeah.
And then it comes to like say a tweener kid, like say Mike Hargadon. Say, my understanding is like the distance coach, and now as head coach, you get to make all the decisions.
Yeah.
But is it sometimes you guys fight over kid maybe? Because the training for a 400 kid's a little bit different than the 800. So
Yeah, I mean,
So who win? Which coach wins out?
I don't think I've lost any of those battles yet.
That's good. That's why he's the main man. All right, so we're gonna let you guys go. It's been a great time. Love to have you back in the spring, coach.
Absolutely.
And, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Especially the Navy. I hope it goes well. I'm sure it will.
Thank you.
But you can't get mad when you're in the Navy. No,
I won't.
But good luck in the Hawks.
thank
Good
you.
luck in divisionals. And,
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. That's it for episode 15 of Hornets Sports Buzz, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Good night.